Good afternoon. We want to welcome everyone to our Board of Directors agenda meeting for July 29th, 2025. This is our opportunity to review the agenda for our former board meeting that will take place on August the 5th. We have 4 modifications for today's agenda, as you can see as read. Any questions for the agenda, consent agenda items? Vice Mayor Wyatt?
Thank you, Mayor. I have questions on, or I'd like a report on items 1 and 2. I understand that we're going for a grant, and one's for design only, and then one is for, I think it's for right-of-way. And so I want to understand what we're doing with these two things. I know they're in Ward 6, but they're between Director Lewis and I, so we both benefit from what those projects are. So can somebody tell me what this is about? And then there's a surface structure grant also, which would put the asphalt and that kind of, how does all this work?
Sure. Good afternoon. So the first item on the agenda, which is Surface Transportation Block Grant Program through MetroPlan. This one is requesting funding through MetroPlan for the design of the next phase of Canis Road improvements. Basically from where we've stopped right now, if you recall, we've done 2 phases of improvements
Right.
there. So we will take off from Gamble Road and go west towards Cooper Orbit Road. So this is for the award of design funding through MetroPlan for that portion of the project.
Okay.
So we requested $400,000, and $100,000 is the matching funds from the city.
Right.
We received word last week that all of these 3 things, 1, 2, and 3, all were awarded funding through MetroPlan.
Okay, and so, but that doesn't build the road. That's the design and
Correct.
right-of-way and all that kind of stuff. So what do we have plans for the road build?
So right now, all this is for the design, as you said. Once it's designed, we'll request for funding for right-of-way acquisition and construction.
Okay, item 2, that's the one that goes from Cherry Laurel to Brody Creek Rail.
Yes.
And there was some highway department people out there that were doing design work. It's been sometime last year, and
So that was one of our consultants, Michael Baker. They did the design on the first phase, which you've seen some work that's been finished up to Cherry Laurel from Canis Road. This is on Bowman Road.
right,
And then from Cherry Laurel going south is the next phase of the design, which Michael Baker is also doing the design for that portion.
right.
We've got federal funding for that project and for design. And with this resolution, we have requested funding for right-of-way acquisition and utility accommodation. So it's a pretty significant project. There are some properties that we will have to acquire of significant value. So we've requested $2.8 million in funding, and our match would be $700,000. So our estimate right now is $3.5 million for purchase of right-of-way and easements and any kind of utility accommodations.
Okay, so when they were out there, we had some design plans, and we talked to the neighborhood, Brody Creek neighborhood. We had a meeting with them, and they were going to do a roundabout there at Brody Creek.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
was going to get into their landscaping and their pond. And so it was supposed to have been, they were going to go back to the drawing table and amend that, change that, and I don't think anybody's seen it since.
We've Yes, so some changes were made, and we've had a second meeting with them. So the roundabout was shifted a little bit to reduce the amount of, effects on the median.
Okay,
So there's 2 roundabouts. One is at Brody Creek, the other one's at Executive Center Drive.
right, right. right, okay. So there's been a second meeting with the neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I didn't get that invite. So, but I do know they had major concerns about the right-of-way coming into, I mean, that's a beautifully landscaped intersection there.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
they really were asking for it to be moved back to the east, to have as minimal damage to that intersection as they could. So they know where we are today? They know
I
about the
believe
plans
so,
today?
and we would be happy to give another update if they want us to. We'll be happy to come talk to them. And usually with any such project, like if we're having any effects on the existing facilities, we will accommodate those in our design. So when it gets reconstructed, it's restored to its original condition.
Yeah. I don't think that makes them happy, but okay.
I understand.
Okay, and I had a question on number 6 also.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know that that involves you, Manish.
It does.
It does?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Wait a minute, number 6. I've got a different agenda than, this is the one, Arkansas Department of Transportation? Yes, okay. So it says that we're gonna pay $552,000 for some problems that happened there at Asher and Colonel Glenn and University Avenue.
Yes, so there was an original project that was planned, and Little Rock, the city of Little Rock also had funding allocated for the project. And at that time, it was only going to be improvements to the intersection, physical improvements, and very minimal improvements to the signals there. However, once the project was designed and it was going to go to bid, a lightning strike happened and a lot of our equipment was damaged. So we requested them to include that in there. And this is for those additions.
Okay, is this that safer project that was, we got grants for in different intersections across the city?
No, ma'am. This is different. This is just an intersection improvement project that RDOT's had in their books for a long time.
So what's happening with that safer grant that we got for, because this is one of the intersections, and I'm
Correct.
wondering, are we spending money and then have to redo something when the safer grant is enacted and we redevelop those intersections? This was one, and I've forgotten where the other ones
Sure,
were.
good question. So, no, there won't be any, this is different. So there won't be anything that gets installed in this project that gets removed through the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, which is SS4A. On that project, we have submitted our agreement with the Federal Highway Administration for review. It's gone through its 2 rounds of review, and now it's gone to the headquarters for their review. So once that is approved, we'll be able to go ahead and get consultants on board, get it designed and constructed.
Okay, I have a question on 7 also.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 7 is the one that, it takes care of the storms that happened in April.
Yes.
And, it says that, there's some kind of debris monitoring that has to happen. So is this to actually remove the debris, or does this set up some sort of tool to determine where it is?
So this is only to get an assessment or to actually monitor the debris removal. So first thing that this contractor will do is come and do a preliminary damage assessment to figure out how much of debris is out there. And then based on that, like, we will have to either go out and get a contractor to come and pick up all that debris. And if it's a very small quantity, which we feel like we can do in-house, then we'll do it in-house. So, and this is a requirement by FEMA in order to get reimbursed. So what this contractor will do is not only do a preliminary damage assessment, they will also monitor the pickup and the drop-off of the debris in the landfill.
Okay. When I first asked about this back in June, I got a memo that said something to the fact of, I had a problem on Lassie Lane for sure, and there's other places in the city that we have damage. I think Joan has talked about Wakefield has a lot of debris up there. I got a memo and it said something to the effect that this was not monitored, so you can't truly say that it was from a storm.
Correct. So there are several areas that had damage, as you know, but there's also like our 311 tracking system does not have a method to track storm debris versus any other kind of debris. So it's very difficult to differentiate between those. Hence, we have to follow that. That's why we have the debris monitor, the contractor that comes and does the monitoring and all that stuff. So all of these things, and Nathan's here too. He could get into some details if necessary. But so once we have an assessment of the damage and have the quantity, then we'll go out there and we'll either use a contractor or use our own staff to go pick up all the debris. Another point I want to mention here is that there's a lot of residents over 100 residents who have already paid for their debris to be removed and hauled off. We have made the decision to reimburse them. How we do that and when we do it, we will get back to you with details on that.
Okay, that's good. I like that. But I don't think it was that much money. It was $6,000 or so is the report
As of
that I
now,
got.
it's closer to 15,000.
Okay, so you added some more then that paid for it since the last report I got.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I like that. I want to see our streets cleaned up. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Director Phillips?
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question on number 9 and then number 16. Number 9, I'm supportive of this, and this is good news. I talked to one of the principals of Park Plaza Mall today, and they're excited about it as well. But I couldn't tell the hours that the police department would be at Park Plaza Mall. Do we have that information yet, Mayor?
We have not decided those hours just yet, but I want to be clear that the annex is meant for number one, the hours will be, it's this open space for officers to utilize throughout the hours of Park Plaza. So it's a place for, as simple as having a rest area and to demonstrate presence, to also just kind of check in and engage with the residents that are in the mall as well to demonstrate presence. And so it's not a scheduled time at all. You don't have to be from that particular district to even go in. You can just be coming from West Little Rock to Midtown and just want to stop in and go to Chick-fil-A and walk in and also catch up on some work at the annex there as well. So versus, sometimes we'll have officers doing some paperwork in different locations to be visible. They can also do that at the Park Plaza Annex.
Okay, perfect. That's what I want to know, and I think it's good for the city and obviously Ward 3 as well to have the presence there. And then on number 16, and it's kind of aligned with what the Vice Mayor was talking about, this day labor program, what type of work will the people that are hired to do this, what type of work will they be doing, Director Howard?
So I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the program that we did in the past.
Yeah.
With, it used to be the applicant was Fab 44 previously, and so what they did was they would go out to several of the right-of-way areas that Public Works would not get to. They would clean those up, weed eat. Also, the small ditches for ditch maintenance, they would go out and weed eat those areas. Sometimes we get requests on certain areas that our staff can't go to, but they can go to and address those issues as far as picking up trash, weed eating, any clearance of issues that we would have as far as grass, high grass, weeds, anything like that.
So how do you work with Public Works to determine where these people go?
Well, you got to remember with code enforcement, we have several areas, and then we get
Exactly.
requests from residents too as well of areas that people don't see. That's not actually private property. That's sometimes public property, and you have some areas such as alleyways that we do go down because we have trash pickups in the alley,
Yeah.
and so we'll go out and address those issues too as well. We did have a number of properties that we addressed last year. We do have a list from the previous 2, 3 years that we did with the day labor program. It was previously in community programs, but with that one-time funding that they had, it ran out. So we were able to pick it up and assist community programs with this program to try to keep it going. The age group is 18 to 30 that we address, that we focus on as far as individuals that need assistance. So they will have funding each and every day that they go out and do these jobs. For the number of hours they do, they'll get paid for them each and every day.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate it. Appreciate your leadership on it. Obviously, Mayor, you and your staff. And I wanted to highlight it because we have residents who reach out to us and say, hey, why haven't we cleaned up? And this is showing us being proactive and trying to address those needs. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Adcock? There you go.
I have a question on item 6. Last night, we had 10 people loitering and begging at this intersection. This morning, they had spent the night there. This morning, the whole intersection was trashed. So, I'm glad we're going to do something with that intersection, but we need more than cosmetics. We need some enforcement. We need to design something where we do not have all these people loitering at that place and begging. We had the woman with the baby. It took us 2 weeks to get a 3-month-old baby off of that medium. And so I would like to see the design of this and see if there's something in there that we could maybe remove some of the mediums so that we do not have places for people to sit in chairs.
So as far as this project's concerned, Director Adcock, one of the main improvements they're doing is providing safe crossings across on the west side of the intersection. So right now you don't have a way to cross Asher Avenue at University. So they're doing a lot of physical modifications to accommodate, pedestrian traffic carefully. They're realigning the lanes to get them, when you go from west to east, where it goes from Colonel Glenn to Asher, the lanes are not aligned and stuff. So they're doing a lot of physical improvements to the intersection here. We have other things that we're planning to. There's lighting that needs to be done, which we got some money earlier this month from Metro Plan. So we're going to do some improvements that's going to improve safety there.
I would like to see the design and see what you're going to do.
Yes, ma'am. I
Because
can get you that
I would like
information.
to see if we can't solve some of the problems at that intersection.
Sure.
Okay. And Mayor, item 17.
Yes, ma'am.
I just need a report on item 17. Where are we? I was by there about a week ago, and there's nothing out there yet.
Yes, ma'am. This item is for the actual construction of the community center. Currently, right now, we're doing, and I have a presentation I can go through real fast. So currently, right now, we're doing site grading and utilities installations at the actual site. So we have to do that prior to us getting to the actual community center. And so the actual contractor, which is Redstone, for the site grading and utilities, is actually probably about 60 to 70% complete on the site. And so they were wrapping up. We have a change order currently right now, so they're working actually to put in the actual drainage and the sewer that was required by Water Reclamation Authority with the civil engineer. And we had some other things that came into play as far as infill. And then also we had some requirements by RDOT as far as the actual street, because that is owned by the State Highway Department. Let's go to the actual micro home village presentation.
I think it's good to share is that you're now basically almost complete with the site selection, and now the next step is to do the construction of the.
That's
That's
correct.
gonna be the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a question. Yesterday, you started removing the homeless people from MHA's property.
Yes.
I know that we had a break-in at the Sonic on Baseline. We also had a break-in at the Sonic on Asher. with homeless people. Tell us what you're doing as you remove all those people from that site.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis with our homeless engagement specialists, they go out to several areas of the city. They're broken down by areas of the city, and at MHA site that's off of Chico Road and Baseline, we're actually working with MHA to clear the site off. One, we have been engaging with the unsheltered at that site currently, each and every day, actually. Also, we work with Little Rock PD to provide services. Our staff is providing services, actually going out with Little Rock PD to make sure that they're secure. And then also, we're working with MHA to secure the site. One of the things that we asked them to do is to make sure that they clear out all the brush that was out there, because when you go on Preston, you cannot see. So if something happens to an individual that's walking down, it's because unsheltered individual could come out of nowhere. Anybody could come out of nowhere and inflict harm on someone if they really wanted to. So we asked them to clear out the site. Also, we got permission from them to actually put up some signs, so we can try to have some no trespassing signs up so that individuals do not go onto the site. Also, we asked them to secure the site with fencing to close it off. And then we're working with individuals each and every day to provide services to them to move away from the site.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor.
Just a little more on item 7 on the Tetra Tech. So, and I guess Nathan may be able to give me probably a better, how much do we pay Tetra Tech for the tornado monitoring?
I'd have to go back and look at the exact numbers, probably, because we had two projects, right? We had the actual debris project, and we had the Rock Creek project, so I look at those kind of separately. Rock Creek, probably 50 to 60,000. I have to go back and look at the large tornado, but it was under $1 million we paid Tetra Tech. So I can get you exact numbers on that.
And I guess the reason I'm asking, because that $500,000 number seems to crop up. How big in scale was this storm compared to the tornado? It doesn't,
Nowhere near it. Yeah. No.
Okay, and you see a reason I'm questioning it. Is
Sure.
it, you know, are they the only responsive bidder to this?
They were, and we did competitively bid the project. Now, that 500,000 is a up to amount. We may not even get close to that 500,000 once the debris project is in effect. So, but that gives us, I guess I would call it like a cushion to spend up to that amount if we have to in this type of event.
And it's a requirement from FEMA for us to get the federal.
It is.
money.
If you
We
have a
can't
con-
monitor it ourselves.
Well, no, you don't want to, right? The amount of staff that it would take to do monitoring, you'd have to have a monitor for every truck, a monitor at the landfill, a monitor everywhere across the city. So it's very labor intensive to do that on your own.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. I have another question on item number 16 for Director Howard. And you addressed some of the question already, because I remember when we passed this contract and it was in community programs.
Yes.
And so my question is, when we moved it to your department, how did we have $109,000 to do that? Was it in the budget at the beginning of the year that we were going to have this, or did we take it from something else, and if so, what?
Yeah, so we do have a special project under Housing Neighborhood Programs that we were able to take some funding that we had. We didn't do a project, so we were able to use that money for this.
Okay. What project were we going to do?
So we do receive lien turnbacks from the liens that we actually post. And so we normally have, we either use equipment we use that money for purchasing equipment. And so we purchased equipment last year. So we were able to find that money, additional funding, so we can do the actual program that we're doing right now.
Okay. Thank you.
And previously, before, it was under community programs, but we actually ran the day-to-day operation of the programs.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, just Director Hines, I just want to say, as far as the unmet needs that we talked about under the actual DR funding that we received, that was one of the reasons why we didn't want to go so heavy on infrastructure, because we knew the storms. And of course, we can't have the duplication of benefits.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to ask 18 be held separate with 22. That's it.
Any questions on, in regards to the planning items or the separate items? Director Hines?
Yes, Mayor. Got some questions just on the whole Clinton Bridge replacement cell. I fully understand that we're going to be responsible for repairing this and we don't have a choice, but I've got some questions on broader scope from, I guess, Manesh and you and your administration as to how often we're inspecting the Junction Bridge and the Clinton Library Bridge.
I know that
Or have we even inspected them since we've taken over?
yes, so RDOT has helped us with the inspection of these bridges. And for the Clinton Bridge itself, when they were doing the I-30 project, they provided us an inspection. Is that correct, David? So they did an underwater inspection. We have a video inspection of that in our files. As far as the Junction Bridge is concerned, similarly, RDOT does the inspection for us. I'd sit on that facilities maintenance board, so I don't know how often they do it, but they do it every few years.
Okay. So that begs the next question. When we do those inspections, are they checking for scour around the piers and our pier protection cells?
Yes.
Okay. So did we inspect the Clinton Bridge after the 2019 flood?
I am not sure.
Okay. Because this is a greater point that I'm getting to, is that we need an MOU or something with RDOT and a schedule, just like they do. They only inspect by their statute and statutory authority bridges that carry traffic. They don't, by course, inspect pedestrian bridges, which is what we own two of. So that's something I think we've got to address going forward. They seem to be the most liable. They would probably do it if we asked nicely. I would even be willing to pay them something to get it done because they're already out in their normal course of business doing this. And I've shared my thoughts with Tom on this regarding this lawsuit. Are we going to have to replace all 7 of those smaller cells that aren't 40-inch diameter?
No, sir. This is only for that one cell that we're talking about.
Okay.
And I'll explore, the
And it's fine
frequency of inspection with
Right.
RDOT.
And it's fine if we don't have answers to these, but they're questions we need answers to
Yes, sir.
going forward. How are we maintaining, who maintains the bridges? Is it Public Works? Is it Parks? How are those bridges maintained?
So, well, I would say that since it's a trail, it's technically a park maintenance facility. For Junction Bridge, for example, that's a bridge that's maintained by funding provided through the City of Little Rock, Pulaski County, and North Little Rock. So each of them provide $35,000 a year individually to that facilities maintenance board for maintaining it. I am not 100% sure how it's set up for the maintenance of the Clinton Bridge, though. If you need information on that, I can.
I think that's something we need to figure out and
Sure.
find out. Do we have any kind of maintenance reserve fund for the Clinton Bridge if we're going to have to paint them or other high-cost maintenance issues? Because if we don't maintain them, they become unsafe structures, then we've got to remove them. We either got to repair or remove them. So, and another question, does North Little Rock or anyone else share maintenance operation at Clinton Bridge? You guys can answer that. I don't think so. I think we're somehow solely ended up with it. I know that the other bridge is different, so. And I guess this is a question either for Tom or how are these bridges carried on our balance sheet? Are they carried as assets, liabilities, both?
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know that they are carried. I know they're not insured.
But we'll get, Nick to, follow up on that, but just a few different things, and I think we should, you wanna go ahead and answer, Nick?
So for the Clinton Bridge, it'd be capital asset first. So it'd be an asset as opposed to a liability on our balance sheet.
Okay. So how do we account for the liability of owning that bridge?
As far as maintenance and stuff like that, it'd just be from regular operations.
Okay. Or situations like this where we don't have it insured.
We don't have
Is that
established.
not a liability if we don't have it insured?
I mean, it's going to be, I mean, as we pay for the expenses, it'll be a liability at that point when we incur those, but.
It's not written on the books as a liability at all.
Correct.
Okay.
It's an asset.
And I guess this question may go to Tom or Manesh. In the Volkert report we got that we paid like $6,000 for in 2021,
Yes, sir.
it estimated pretty close to what HNTB did, is that the replacement cell was going to be about $5 million, and it suggested a 40-foot diameter. I guess my question is, why was that initial report deficient? And it was in 2021. And we didn't sue Marquette until 2023.
Part of the reason we did not sue Marquette until 2023 is we had some troubles getting the documents we needed to be able to file the complaint and to know to whom, against whom to file the complaint. That was done. I'm not going to tell you that it couldn't have been done quicker. I just know that I walked into one of my lawyers one day and I said, make this so. And they got the information. We finally got the Coast Guard report, which we had had troubles getting. I don't know why we had had troubles getting. I just know we had troubles. And so that's what he did essentially for 2 months, and then drafted the complaint and filed it in that September.
Okay. And I guess the other question is, who was that initial Volkert report shared with? Do you know?
I don't know.
We were given a copy of it. One of the things we were hoping to get from the Volker report was something that would be more definite as to what element of damages we should be seeking. The way that it was written, it turned out to be sort of close to what we're looking at in terms of the short-term financing. One thing you should remember is that we have a company basically still here who did the Interstate 30 bridge, and won't have to bring all of their equipment from another state to help us if we go through with this matter. At that time, though, we didn't have anything in the Volker report. Nobody could tell us anything about what all we would need. There is a reference in the Volker report to referring to another entity that was going to be doing this, but they really didn't give us any indication of how much or where we would go.
Well, I wouldn't expect for $6,000 they were going to tell us much.
I would expect them to tell me for $6,000, this is what you've got to get, and they failed to do that.
Right, okay. Well, because obviously we spent more between Massman and HNTB. Would it shock you to know that HNTB was the original engineer on that bridge when they did a pier removal? They built the original plans. Did anybody research that to maybe say we should be talking to them to begin with?
I wasn't aware, and I was not here at that time, Director Hines.
I'll share that information with you.
But
And-
Director Hines, irrespective, has to be a competitive bid throughout that process. That wouldn't be any bearing on the selection of the person. Just.
I understand that, but when we're looking at a potential situation where we obviously issued I don't know if I guess for 6,000 we must have bid it because it's over 5,000 on the Volkert, but seems to me that we probably got copies of those plans. Maybe a little research and due diligence on our part would have been helpful.
There was one copy of a plan that Volker got from, I think, RDOT that was included in their original report. Public Works, in very good compliance with the state statute on professional services, puts out a request for qualifications, and Nick can tell you what it's called now because I don't remember. But they do that at the first of the year for what they anticipate will be the types of things that come up, so that they have basically a list of engineers that they can turn to when something happens, so we don't have to start the bid process. I don't know this for a fact, but I suspect that Volker got selected because they had been on that list at the beginning, and then when this has happened, that's who we turn to.
So it was under our current.
It was under the
existing-
one for that particular
our-
year.
Our RFP for that year. All right. You know, and Mayor, you and I talked about this offline, but I think the biggest shock in this was notification. Now, you told me that we were made aware and notified of this, but I think I could go down the line here. And until this was on our agenda a couple weeks ago, no one was having any idea. I can tell you that none of us were notified about the Volker report in 2021. There was potentially $5 million of damage. I don't recall being notified that we filed suit against Marquette in '23, and I sure as heck don't recall that we got a letter from the Coast Guard in October of '24 that we were going to be fined $35,000 a day if we didn't correct this. So, and I'm perfectly happy to be proven wrong, but I can tell you that
Have
that
no
I don't-
problem in doing that. How, just want to be clear, everyone's been aware that someone hit the barge several years ago. Our former director, John Honeywell, shared that with you all several different times. Actually, you all asked questions about it several different times. We can spend the time to go to every YouTube channel when we have board meetings and discuss it and show it to you. It's been done. That's a fact. Our city attorney has also shared with you all, because you've asked a question about it, because there was hinting to whether or not we were going to have to pay the money, because the city attorney for the last 2 or 3 years has been working to figure out how we get the money paid for rather than us write the check. So this is not any new news. The only new news is now the U.S. Corps of Engineers have said, pay up now. You guys figure out your legal fees later, $35,000 or less. Tend to have memory loss sometimes until there's a big check coming, but you all have been made aware. That's very much fact.
Coast Guard, the Coast Guard,
Coast
not,
Guard,
not. the
thank you,
police.
not the Corps. Thank you. And every time, you also get every information about the contracts as well. So that's all been shared with you via email. Director, just education for many folks in the public as well as board members. Many people may or may not, and then I'm going to swiftly give an assist to Director Compurius, because I'm assuming his hand may be up as well, since he was one of the main architects of the Clinton Library. Many people don't understand. However, I'm going to share this just so everyone's understand. When it comes to the maintenance of those bridges, as Manish shared, there is a facilities board. That facility board has representation of the cities that connect and the county within. We all put money into it. We rely on the expertise because we don't have any underwater engineers that's going to be checking different things of RDOT. They do. So we follow their lead. If we need to intensify based off of this, I'm sure we'll get that done, but we follow their lead. We've always done that since we've maintained that over the decades since it's been here. So that's number one. Number two, just like the city board, if you may recall, a few months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, we allocated and funded $1.8 million for bridge lights. Why? Because it's going to cost $4 million to maintain the bridge lights. That's just our portion. North Little Rock has a portion, county has a portion, those different types of things. So it's a true regional funding. There's not one set person that focuses on that because we all own it together. In a perfect world, we would do it all. However, that's not the case, and we don't necessarily want to fund it all ourselves anyway. So I want to make sure everyone understands. RDOT handles that for us. We have not made that a part of the budget to do that going forward. We can look at that. However, I think what's probably best is to leverage the assets of RDOT and just ask them to do more inspections. We can get any information there. So, but that's the historical knowledge, and Director Compurius, I'm sure you can fill in because there's some other details and MOUs that even the Clinton Foundation handles, and we don't have anything to do with it.
Unfortunately, you're right. The Junction Bridge, Tom, is owned, Tom?
Yes, I'm
Is owned by the three entities, correct?
I think that's what we've tried to do, yes.
Because the Junction Bridge I'm sure is owned by the three entities. It is not owned by the city of Little Rock. It is insured by the three entities. It is, in fact, Buddy Valines is the one who helped make the plans that we ended up paying for getting facilitating where you get to the Little Rock. So all of that, Buddy started. We got the money from from Cindy Coast Miller to do that plaza down there, and that's where we got the money to do the Little Rock Plaza. The facility boards has all three of those bridges. When we got the Clinton Bridge, the county and North Little Rock didn't want to be part of it. We ended up with that. So we're the owners of the Clinton Bridge. It was not insured at that time, mistake on our part, long gone. The the obligation for taking care of it is ours, as the mayor knows. And what I think Lance is saying is we need to have a cooperative effort, that you're saying, with RDOT to inspect those two bridges. It would be nice if there was a way to get the county and North Little Rock involved in both bridges, and that would be something I think we ought to do in the spirit of cooperation. We're lighting them together, we're doing everything else together, and that would be something to do. When we got the bridges, and the railroad abandoned those two bridges, we gave the railroad a tax deduction for two bridges of $500,000. And that was all the money that they took for a tax deduction on giving us two bridges. Unfortunately, they also gave us the obligation of taking care of the bridges, because at the point that we got the bridges, the Corps said, if you abandon the railroad and abandon the bridges, then you have to take the bridges down to bedrock. And because of the whole waterway, the McClellan waterway, the most dangerous whole part of the river is the 6 bridges they have to go through here. So that's the history of what we did. We got the bridges. It is, I think, a net benefit for the city, but we just need to be cognizant of what the down parts of it.
Thank you so much. I knew you would have that background information. Vice Mayor Wyatt.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a resolution for $712,441, and then we have an ordinance for $6.5 million. When you go back and you look at the details of the bid, the bid was for $5.7 million, and then $712,441 for I guess the design work, and possibly some help in litigation as this thing goes through. So why are we asking for 6.5 million short-term financing? If the bid was 5.7, why are we asking for 6.5? Because
one of the things you'll notice in the materials that we provided you is that the initial bid for highway for Interstate 30 was 1.7 million. It ended up being 5.7. One of the issues at hand is that the figure was 240 that the bridge was supposed to be able to, the protection cell was both supposed to be able to withstand at the time it was put in. At the time of the incident, it was at 182, which is a substantial change. So what's going to happen is we're going to have to dig down into the bedrock and bury this deeper. That cost, whatever it is going to be the city's cost. It's not going to have anything to do with being hit by the barge. We were going to end up having to do that anyway, as soon as we found out about it.
so is that not included in the 5.7 bid?
The amount for the short-term financing is what it's going to take to bring the descending protection cell into compliance so that we can get another permit from the U.S. Coast Guard to have it in that particular river.
So this 6.5 is more than just the repair to the bridge. It's permits and other things? Because the bid was 5.7, yes, sir?
Yes, so it's the total. If you add both of those, it's close to $6.5 million. It's the 5.7, whatever, plus the design.
Yeah, okay. And it says in here also, okay, so thanks for that clarification. It also says in here that if we did this by a certain time, that it would save us $300,000. Are we still going to be able to weigh in on that?
In terms of saving the 300,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, if this passes next Tuesday, we'll still get that benefit.
Okay, and my last and final question is, Coast Guard said that they were gonna charge us 35,000 plus a day if we didn't do this. So have they started that? Are they gonna
No.
start it?
The
Does
Coast
this get
Guard
us out of
wanted
the-
to have assurance from the city that it was going to move forward. We have talked to them since this was on the agenda the last time, and they're going to be watching what happens Tuesday night. But the Coast Guard had already made a conclusion at one point that while some of the interstate the 30 crossing part was being done, that it was not a good time to have additional construction going on in the river, so they held off until after that. So that's another thing that helped deal with the downtime or delay, but now that's not acceptable.
Okay, this is kind of off topic, Tom, but would you give us a list of potential lawsuits and the risks that we have on those? We used to get a yearly report, a semi-yearly report. We've not seen that in a while, and I think it'd be helpful to the board if we knew what we have coming up and what the risks might be.
We will do that. Each member of the board was supposed to have gotten a copy in June of the litigation audit letter, which set out, it didn't set out everything, but it did set out those where there was potential recovery of $50,000 or more. And
I don't recall getting that, so I don't know if others do or not, but can we get that resent?
I'm looking at Lynette and saying, yes, we'll send that tomorrow.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
She's
Thank you
doing
so
it
much.
now. I was going to say tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Lynette, did you say it was already sent? We'll get Ashley to resend it to everybody. See if Ashley would have sent it from, so thank you, Lynette, for sending it on June 30th. Director Phillips?
Thank you, Mayor. My question is also about the bridge and its perspective and big picture. As I understand it, we vote next week for $6.5 million. There's a lawsuit that we filed against the entity that caused the damage. They have insurance up to $10 million, correct?
Right. They have an insurance policy up to $10 million, but then they have several millions in assets.
Right. So theoretically, and I know you got to settle, and every time you settle, you don't get every dollar because you're worried about trial and costs and time, and I get all that. But theoretically, the money that we spend, if we approve this next week, most of, if not all of, could be reimbursed through the litigation, which is a settlement conference next month in August or trial in December,
Right.
pending an appeal of some sort.
Right. And I will emphasize the most of, for what I said before, the deeper we have to go than this one was, really is not on the barge company. I mean, that was going to have to be done anyway. Or we found out because of the incident that was going to have to be done anyway. But
You were able to separate those
Right.
amounts and ask for everything up to the damage amount caused by, and this, what would be the tortfeasor, in this case, the defendant in the lawsuit, correct?
Right. The only thing I'm hesitating on is this is an amnesty action, not a tort action.
Well, fair, I'm just using,
And,
Yeah.
and the rules are a little bit different, but yes, we should be able to get anything that deals with knocking the thing over and where it was at the time.
all right, I just want to understand that from a big picture standpoint. Thank you, Tom, and thank you for the materials as well. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Director Hines? Oh, do it again, so. There you go.
Thank you. Manesh and staff, I just wanted, and Tom, when all of this went down, I reached out to RDOT and asked them for historical kind of bridge collisions on this section of the river. And what they told me was that they purposely inspected all their bridges on the Arkansas River after 2019 flood.
Okay.
That's when they found they had erosion on their protection cells that they were able to access federal highway funds to repair because of the flood. They did not inspect our bridges at that point. And that's why I'm saying we need an MOU to make sure that it doesn't fall through the cracks. Their priority is always going to be their bridges that carry traffic. And because there will be more floods, there will be more barge collisions with our protection cells. And that's why this is a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking, but we have got a huge liability issue on our hands, and that's why going forward, we've got to make sure we tighten that up.
Yes,
Whether
sir.
it's with insurance, a better standard operating procedure where these bridges are concerned, because not only is it a liability asset of some collision, if we have people on those bridges and something happens to them, I don't want to be me. I don't want to be sitting in this chair if that happens. So, and that's the thing we really got to, to me, it's maybe a little hole in what RDOT's doing too. We may need to talk to the governor and the legislature about broadening their scope when it comes to navigable riverways that carry pedestrians. It doesn't happen in a lot of areas of the state. This is probably really the only place we've got this type of crossing that I can think of. So.
We will definitely explore opportunities with the highway department and see what can be done as far as coming up with an MOU for the inspection of these bridges.
Director Hines, almost immediately after saying congratulations to Mr. Hubbard on being named the city manager, my first comment was, we have discovered this about these protection cells and these bridges, and it has to be addressed. And he's heard more about the bridges than I think he's heard about anything else since then. You're absolutely spot on that we need to look at this.
Director Hines?
One other thing, Tom, I don't know if it was your office put this together. It looks like it because it's documented like a brief. So I appreciate the scope of this. This is what I wish we had to begin with. It probably would have caused a lot less heartburn and heartache. And when you come to the board asking for $6.5 million, I think more than just it being on our agenda would have been sufficient. Thank you.
Director Cabeers?
Just a quick note on what Lance said about maintenance of the bridges. They were designed to be not maintenance free, but basically maintenance free. The Junction Bridge has got that blue paint that needs to be painted sometimes. The other bridges were left in place just like they were, and then the superstructure was put in, and it's concrete and it's stainless steel, and it shouldn't rust or do anything. And the bridges were anticipated to be painted, but we went back, and to paint them is a multi-million-dollar thing. You have to chip everything off of them. They're Corten steel, they oxidize, they're pretty, you can't hurt them, you can't do anything bad to them, and they will never, as far as I'm concerned, they never will be painted because the liability and what it costs to do it, the protective nets and everything you have to put in the river to do it. So what you see is what's going to be there, and the only thing we have to maintain, if you look at this picture, is that aluminum and steel that goes across there in the concrete. So it is not a hard thing to maintain.
Vice Mayor Warwick?
Thank you, Mayor. I asked Tom to prepare an update to one of our ordinances that deal with loitering, and he thinks he might have it ready for Tuesday night, so I'd like for us to have a placeholder on the agenda for that. He's shaking his head. Yes, that's a good sign.
It would have to be a 8-member vote, right? Is that the one you're talking about? because we're in the agenda meeting now, so.
If it comes from the manager, we'll take a majority vote. This is to deal with solicitation from medians. The issue that Director Hancock spoke to and the comment that the Attorney General talked about, he's tried to make everything ordering, so we're not dealing with begging, which has First Amendment protections. We're dealing with, our ordinance pretty much already did that, but we're correcting some things, and then I've talked to Manesh to get some indications. The median at Colonel Glennon University is one thing. The median going down Pleasant Valley Drive is obviously something else, and we need to deal with something where it's going to be a real public safety hazard for people to be out there, and that's what we're working on.
Right, we'll discuss the details. It's just a matter of whether it's placed on next Tuesday or two Tuesdays from that. That's from the process standpoint. Yep, so we'll get that. Director Adcock?
Yes, can we go back to the agenda on item 21 and show the pictures of these residences we're going to demolish?
Yes, ma'am.
We have lots of people that watch our board meeting, and I think that would be a real interest to them.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, no questions, Kevin. We're just
I
gonna.
was just trying to see if she needed me to work the,
Oh, okay.
the clicker.
You don't have?
It will work? Okay, if it works, something good.
I'm just trying to keep us on time.
Oh, yes.
I didn't want you to start talking.
The picture speaks for itself.
All in jest, everyone. All in jest. What we probably ought to do, Kevin, is figure out how to get this on our city website and just keep a rolling tally as well. I know Director Adcock often asks for us to show it here as well. If you'll work with April and team. All right. That's not all? Oh,
Got 3 more.
we'll keep it. Let's get all 21. We'll go to Director Webb while we're going through that. I think we can do two things at once. Director Webb?
Yes, and this is just an announcement, if we're ready for those.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a reminder to everybody that Saturday is Recycle Day, Little Rock Recycle Day at the zoo, and you can bring anything with a cord except for a refrigerator or an air conditioner, and you can bring paper to be shredded, things you would normally put in a cart. It's from 9 to 12, and we can make people aware of that.
Director Webb, will it include paint?
I'm sorry?
Does that include paint?
No, it does not. And somebody asked that last night at
It
the,
did, yeah.
at the neighborhood meeting where the mayor and I were, and so I looked it up, and it does not.
The second person, yeah. Before we get ready to go just some great positive news. I know Directors Lewis and Vice Mayor Warwick were able to attend. But it's a big deal to have the new expansion of Amazon here in our city. It represents about 5,000 new jobs. It was 1,000 for this, but the cumulative about 5,000. It's a big deal because this city board, we've been able to invest, particularly just from the city, somewhere around $35 to $40 million into Little Rock Port, and we've gotten close to $1 billion in economic development return on investment. And so it's a big deal for the things that we have. And probably per capita, we probably have the most fulfillment centers now for cities our size and larger. And so it's a true testament of us being a logistics hub. So just kudos to the board. It didn't happen in a vacuum. That $35 to $40 million in the investment to Little Rock Port has made that happen. Director Peck?
Just a quick question and then a quick announcement. Tom, I guess this is for you, and I haven't had this come up before, but this is about soliciting, trespassing, people in neighborhoods. I've been getting some complaints for Echo Valley. It's all over next door, a security company that's just knocking on the door, sometimes, after dark, repeated times. People will actually put no soliciting signs in their yard. They continue. They feel like they're being harassed. Is there anything on the books that would prevent this? I know in some neighborhoods, they have very clear signs, no soliciting, but can we do anything about that?
We can, but the persons can complain with the prosecutors and let it be known that that's a trespassing matter. Also, if they can tell us the companies, we can at least find out what business license they have for Little Rock and contact the companies.
I know the company.
Yeah, well, we
Okay.
need to contact the company, and
Okay.
my office will write a letter and say, cut it out.
All right, we'll talk after. Thank you. I was hopeful that we might be able to do something. The other thing is just a little feel-good thing. I just wanted to report that the Love Your Firefighters campaign has something coming on the horizon, thanks to Director Adcock reaching out to Lamar Advertising. And we met with them last week, along with Kyle King from KRK Fox News. And what we're missing is an awareness campaign because we sort of stalled out. So they are doing that free for us. We'll have some, I don't know how many billboards yet, but they're coming up with a campaign. We're going to get a lot of public awareness, television, newspaper, print. So thanks to them, and just hang tight. Tell the firefighters to hang tight. We need a little more money. So anyway, thanks. Just wanted to report about our campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may
You
make.
sure you want to do this?
Yes, sir. This is, I forgot to mention earlier on the debris pickup. While we're doing all this, our staff is working voluntary overtime on a daily basis to go out and pick the debris. So we're making progress slowly but surely while we get everything lined up. So just wanted everyone to know that.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Hey, Mayor, before we left, did any board members have any questions in regards to the less than $50,000 contract memo I sent out to you guys?
Everybody hear that?
No comments? Thank you.